Huh?
Okay,
yeah.
So here
what
we are at Paula's place.
Nico, can I help me?
We found the secret to
Can I help me?
the key to the puzzle.
Yes.
So, how can you describe your early mothering of Nico?
Yes.
Oh, here comes my allergy to cats, right on schedule. So, was Nico an unusual child?
What?
Was Nico an unusual child?
Yes.
Like what? What were some?
Oh.
Was
What is?
Curious?
Yes, very. Yes.
Very curious.
Very quickly. Mm.
Curious and quick.
Yes. The same?
Was he a good student of your teaching?
Yeah. Yeah.
How can you describe? Like was he quick with language?
I speak a little bit English and a little bit French and Italy.
Did you travel?
Yes, I am traveling.
When he was young, did he travel?
2 weeks. 2 weeks stay here in New York. Yeah?
No.
No?
Now or when Nico was a baby?
Nico can...
No.
Translation?
Yes, it's a problem.
Okay, sit down. We're going to have Nico translate. So my first question is,
Don't talk too much.
when did she figure out she was dealing with a special character when you were born?
Special character?
Well, at the period, my parents are linked to German intelligence, and they picked me 30 years ago and said, oh, let's observe this guy, because in 30 years from now we have this 9/11 thing. Let's see how we can manipulate his skills so that he will figure out how 9/11 happens.
I guess we're not going to get a translation.
That's why I put my mother into a Matrix movie, so that I'm getting interested in playing with fake realities and
He wants you to translate that into German for your mother.
Yeah, translate that.
Wann hast du rausgefunden, dass du einen Spezialcharakter als Sohn hast?
Als Baby schon.
Baby, yeah.
Yeah.
What's that saying?
Yes.
As baby. I tell her that I was able at 3 years to
Yeah.
write and read and create my own newspaper.
You created your own newspaper when you were 3?
Yeah, my father was in the marketing campaign. He figured out how you can manipulate people just by changing titles and heads. So he bought 8 newspapers, and he told me, see, it's all the same story, but they're changing the words so that it becomes a different message. That's what the lefty calls subliminal message.
Explain to your mother so we see if she agrees.
So, mein Vater hat mir beigebracht, wie die Leute über Medien manipuliert werden, weil nur Wörter vertauschen.
Ja.
Ja, und das hat mich inspiriert, meine eigene Zeitung rauszubringen.
Also, kann ich sprechen in Deutsch?
Ja.
Ja,
Okay. Also Nico hat schon mit 3 Jahren angefangen zu schreiben und zu malen. Und mit 4 Jahren hat er ein eigenes Buch gemacht. Nikos
Bridges?
Yes.
Okay, so
Mit
3 years I was able to read and rhyme. It's 4 years I brought up my first book, which was an illustration of bridges worldwide.
Yeah.
So I compared where is a bridge. So I'm not looking into regular bridges, but also, I don't know, the Bridge of Love or the whatever. I was analyzing bridges.
Yes.
And what did she think about that?
Was hast du darüber gedacht?
Also ich habe das damals als ganz normal empfunden, weil wir waren so eine crazy Familie und da gehörte das einfach dazu.
I want to hear more about your father.
Okay, my mother thought that was very regular in that context because we were already a crazy family. For instance, my father was a marketing guy probably working together with marketing spooks. So he got pissed off after a while because his idea is getting abused. And then he creates his own cult. Like he says, it's all bullshit. I believe there are completely different galaxies around. And so they're playing the big thing against us. So because I have all these crazes in my family, that's the reason why I speak personally out against cults.
I still. Do you see similarity?
Does she understand what you just said? Just quickly in a nutshell.
Ich habe mir erklärt, dass unsere eigene Familie mit Sektenleuten missbraucht wurde. Meine Großmutter.
My mother. Das ist.
Yeah, my mother was abused by her great grandmother because she was linked to the New Apostolic Church, Neuapostolische Kirche, which is here kind of not that popular, but it's maybe on a level like Jehovah's Witnesses. So, and she's abusing my mother, saying no sex before 20 or something like that.
Yes.
Do you understand what you said?
Okay,
yes,
so my father, who's still a nice guy in the marketing, tried to get her out of that. And so I grew up with fights between my father, with my grandmother, and my mother. And so that's how I got traumatized when I was younger and was able to protect myself by having these experiences. It's like saying, I know how manipulation works because I grew up in the same context and I spoke against my grandmother at the same time when I was 4 or 5 years old. And so I look like I have an attitude, but this is how I grew up.
So does she understand? You agree?
Yes.
But how was she abused? Oh, no sex before?
Yeah, some minimal things like you're not allowed
to have
sex until you're married. I mean, here in America, that's also a regular thing.
You know what Rosalie Grable says? No sex after 20.
Yeah.
You know
Well, my mother had the luck. Had also regular life because she turned that it's not regular, but she turned into a model. And you know, in the 70s there was also some dirty thing, but at least she met some cool people in that context. So I grew up basically.
So she rebelled. You rebelled.
Yeah, it's a kind of rebellion. Like, so now I'm showing my.
Well, we have to cut in some of the model pictures.
You still have some model pictures.
Some pictures, and then when we do the editing, we'll put your pictures in.
We have the film. The film that she was in.
Well, that's the other thing. We want to present a movie soon where my mother played an extra called World on the Wire, Welt am Draht, which is based on the original Matrix book from 1956, which was a U.S. intelligence officer called Daniel F. Galloyle. And he presented in the book like how the power brokers presenting parallel realities for us. Why the Wachowski brothers bring the Hangout version 100 years later and present there's just one matrix and we just have to make the holes in that matrix bigger so that we can beat them. But I believe they always have different layers around that matrix and there's another matrix. And so the main people who are doing this is Tavistock Institute and maybe some other German institutes and maybe Purdue and...
Now Nico doesn't want to admit it, but do you know who his real spiritual father was?
Oh.
Reinhard Gehlen. Oh, but he doesn't want to talk about Reinhard Gehlen.
No, I'm Reinhard who says actually that the whole Holocaust was indeed over-exaggerated, but the over-exaggeration is in itself also hang out to distract from who actually sponsored the Holocaust. So I'm saying since 2 years now, if people really want to have to choose about 9/11, about Holocaust, well, let's figure out who sponsored the Holocaust. And I'm saying the story is completely different. It's not the Bush-Harriman brothers. It's not even the Jews. It is IBM. It is Coca-Cola, and it is brand new Sony. I'm saying that World War II was created to introduce new technology.
Sony, we use Sony TR900.
Well, no, here's how it works. We have Germany here, we have England, and we have the US, and we have Japan. They say we all want to have part of the cookie. So Japan says, what is up for us? They say you can create the first video system, which is Humatic. So, and how can we arrange Japan into World War II? Well, we nuked them. Why did they use nukes? Because they wanted to create the nuclear technology. World War I was the same bullshit. They create chemical weapons to create the chemical industry. In 1999, they create psychotherapy to create the biopharmacy.
Nico, you left it out. Who was IBM? It wasn't Thomas Watson.
Yeah, IBM in reality is basically a front for German technology, which is Konrad Susi.
No. Hans Hollerith.
Hans Ulrich?
Yeah.
Oh, you know that's an acronym for HAL. In 2001 HAL is one letter before IBM.
Okay. The real developer of IBM was a German named Hans Hollerith.
Yeah, Hans Ulrich, HAL. That's right, he's right. So IBM worked as a front company for German Hans Hollerich plus Konrad Zuse. Because Konrad Zuse was the first one who created the computer, that was the Z1. But then they didn't allow Germany to develop the technology like they always do.
We have a lot of tape. Let's check in with Joe now.
Ah, my show. Okay, translate this question for me,
Anyway,
please.
Sony and Coca-Cola for product placement. Very important. Coca-Cola and Fanta.
No, we'll come back.
Shot. Question is, ask her, did your teachers, when you were in the 2nd and 3rd grade, did they want to talk to her?
Haben meine Lehrer mit mir gesprochen, als ich im 2. und 3. Schuljahr ist? Was ist das für eine question?
What?
Teachers?
Yes.
When he was, did they?
Damals hat er noch nicht so viel gesprochen wie heute.
At that time I didn't talk as much as today.
But I mean, were your teachers concerned about you at some point?
Oh, no. I was, at that time, I was harmless in school, I think.
Were you happy?
That was okay time. I remember when I was in high school, I was more the rebel.
In high school, yeah.
You know what your problem was? There
Did you
was
get
no
into
Hitler
trouble?
Youth.
Yeah, I got into trouble.
If there had been a Hitler Youth,
Yes.
you would have joined it.
High school trouble.
You would have been a Gulag.
Yes.
Oh,
Als
talk about
Rebel,
high
yes.
school trouble.
Yeah.
What?
Ja.
In Deutsch. In Deutsch.
Ja, also er hat immer sehr komische Sachen gemacht in der Schule, hat man mir erzählt. Oder er hat ganz andere Dinge gemacht. Eine Sache in Biologie.
Biologie.
Genau. Da hat er eine schlechte Note, eine 5 gehabt. Und ich habe gedacht, das kann nicht sein. Weil weil er ist eigentlich gut. Und dann habe ich mit seiner Lehrerin gesprochen. Und die sagte mir, ja, also der Nico ist super gut, aber er macht immer Dinge, die er nicht machen soll. Er hat bearbeitet immer ganz andere Themen.
Ja,
und deshalb musste ich ihm leider, eigentlich hätte er eine 1 verdient.
She explains how I was
it's
always off topic in school, and when they wanted me to do something biology, I was just maybe painting too much stuff around, like, I don't know, I forgot, but that is not really troublemaking, that's just fucking...
Being different.
Yeah. You know, in Germany they pushed in the 70s all these intelligent people, like the Waldorf school people, and they were creeps for me, so I didn't want to get involved with these people. Because the Waldorf school itself is also an own cult. So I try to be different than those, and then so I became different too. I don't know where it's all coming from, but I personally believe that they're pushing these skills.
Nico, were you ever compared to Martin Luther?
Martin Luther King, no.
No, Martin Luther.
Oh, Martin Luther, no, I didn't have these comparisons.
You weren't trying to overthrow the Catholic Church and the established order?
I was an outspoken opponent from the Pope since I'm 15.
So the Reformation, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't like the evangelists either.
I want more detail about the trouble from your mother that you didn't translate.
Was großer Ärger in der Schule gab? Großen
Ärger? Nee, das kann ich nicht sagen. Nee, großen Ärger nicht.
I got almost kicked off from school at least 3 times. But in one
ich
bizarre coincidence, I was in the committee who were actually helping the people get kicked out from school. So I was at the same time in the committee when I reached enough points to get kicked out by myself because I was in the committee.
So it was insubordination?
Also Nico hat Theater gespielt in der Schule.
I played theater in the school, yeah.
Genau.
Gymnasium.
You're an actor.
It's the girls?
Yeah, I was a bad actor. I was more a stuntman. I couldn't paraphrase my notes, so I was a bad actor.
Well, you had Diet Pop in there, and I wasn't going to drink that.
Nico, when they had nativity scenes, were you ever one of the angels?
You always make these jokes that I'm kind of gay or faggot or something like that. No, I didn't play the angel.
No, I mean a good guy. Were you with a halo, like you were good?
No. And I think I was never that good guy. I was more the party crasher. People hated me because I brought over 30 people to the party.
You never brought presents to the baby Jesus? You didn't do that, huh? All right.
No,
Was he religious?
people liked me because I hooked up with musicians and DJs.
What?
Religious?
I was cool, but I was never...
Counterculture.
Did you have religion when you were a kid?
I had religion, but I had always arguments, even in religion. I had fights in philosophy, because I disagreed with my professor on things he had to say about Hegel, Kant. I tried to create my own philosophy, actually. But I was a Kant fan. Hegel is a little complicated. I like, actually, Wittgenstein. He's very very numeric. He's very systematic. I like system theory. So I was inspired more by systems theory thinkers, like Egypt's minimalistic, like memory
Did you find
systems.
that the new wave of German filmmakers became your heroes, like Fassbinder?
Fassbinder, I'm a big fan. I'm not
The
gay,
new
but I
wave.
like the way how he takes homosexuality completely out of context and then says, actually, if you're homosexual, nothing is better or worse. It's the same bullshit. So he presented homosexuality in a way like it's even more screwed up. So he presented people like the same fights like between men and women. That was kind of comedy. So I like that.
You know, became more famous than him for that, Milos Forman.
Milos Forman, yeah. But I didn't like his movies. Maybe one with Mozart, but this was more drama.
Du kannst dann nur erzählen, dass du eine Radioshow gemacht hast.
Okay, I did also radio show when I was younger for 10,
Yeah.
12 years. And I work with television, so I know this.
What's that, sir? More 10 or 12 years of radio?
Yeah, my own. Basically like MNN for radios, like public radio access.
What kind of stuff did you produce?
Oh, I was just DJ, playing music, but inviting people, I made interviews with people who are not famous, sometimes Public Enemy or whatever. So it was just, actually I did it because I want to have free records.
Yeah.
Ask him.
It
Joe
was
had
enough that he was invited to be part of pseudo TV when it was invented as an internet.
Oh yeah. So I met all these interesting spookers in the US, like Josh Harris, who created here allegedly not with his own money, as he revealed some weeks ago or months ago. He created his first internet TV show. And so I was working for him. I thought he was a cool guy. He was a Jew who liked Nazis.
Yeah, but no viewers.
And he created a pre-9/11 situation. He had capsule hotel where everyone's watching each other. He had an interrogation room like the Home Security. And so he was a visualist.
The people didn't watch. Now, I got to tell Joe, you and Ryan here just went out for a short cigarette break, and there was a report that came over the radio. 2 Pakistani terrorists were seen in Gramercy Park with dark skin, Ryan and you, okay? And that's why we need more alerts, and we got to be careful. So you and Ryan were tagged as Pakistani terrorists from
they're after the
Mumbai.
Pakistanis now. As Obama predicted, he wants a new Pakistan. I believe they want to stage some war between Pakistan and Iran, India, which I think is Lockheed versus whatever runs Pakistan. I think that's the nuclear industry around Netherlands, Germany. Because they gave the nuclear technology in the 70s to Pakistan through Amsterdam, this is, what's his name, A.Q. Khan.
Mm-hmm.
He got the technology.
Ayub Khan.
Yeah, he got the know-how from Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
Und letzten Endes hat er ein ganz seriöses Studium gemacht. Er hat ein Pädagogikstudium gemacht mit Abschluss 1.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well, so my life turned then serious for a while.
Yes.
He's translating.
My life turned then serious for a while. I did a serious study at college. Was social media and social pedagogic, which is here kind of like media pedagogic. And so this I made my own diploma, and it was about chances and risks of the internet for society in 1994, 95.
Mit 1.
Thesis or diploma?
Mit 1.
This is something you write about.
Well, diploma actually would be the incorrect name, because that is
Like a thesis that you write at the end.
it's a thesis, but a thesis was 80 pages big, which is not allowed. You have only to write in 40 pages. And I said it's okay. So half of them they didn't understand what I'm writing about. They had 3 professors reading through it, and I said it's brilliant. So, and I think it was still far ahead of the time. If I read it now, there's still things coming in, which it's not about prediction. It's more some kind of logical calculation of what could happen in the future if this and that
Nico,
happens.
did you ever appear on Music Laden TV with naked German girls?
No, I wish.
Why not?
But again, my mother worked, has girlfriends, had friends who worked
Who were those
in the
naked
music
German girls?
Let her talk on that.
Oh, okay.
Ask her.
No, he has a preoccupation with
What?
Die große Brust.
Die große Brust.
Schöne Nocke Brust.
no, you can do the translation.
Oh, yeah.
What influence did her friends who are in the modeling business have on your development?
Welchen Einfluss haben deine Modellfreunde auf mein Leben gehabt?
Oh. Auf sein Leben. Das muss er selber beantworten. Das kann ich gar nicht sagen.
Well, I think I grew up with too many stereotypic chicks, so that maybe a complete sex fetishist.
Oh,
She
good.
said that?
No,
No, not my mother, but all the mother models. I mean, my mother had her own model agency after a while, when she was older, and so I had all these set cards. So it was for me like reading Playboy.
No.
No, what?
What? No, I mean,
No.
Come on, auf Deutsch.
no, she's
Das war
embarrassed.
so.
Auf Deutsch.
Na, ich habe ihr erklärt, dass du in deiner eigenen Modellagentur hast
Ja.
diese Setkarten gehabt. Und ich bin da durchgegangen wie so eine Art Voyeurismus. Das halt immer die Karten verglichen.
Was? Wann denn? Nein.
My mother's embarrassed because she doesn't know that. I'm just telling it now like
You mean you were a
used
young
to.
boy surrounded growing up by half-naked women?
Yeah, basically.
Beautiful half-naked
Yeah,
women?
and they were all hot.
My
Better
God.
than you, George, with all those priests.
When are you going to write a book about that?
I have no time to write anymore. That's why I have just to make videos or talking is already too
Every
much.
boy should be in that position, growing up
No,
with
it was
beautiful
great.
models.
And my mother had all these party friends. And my mother had all these computer friends. So I grew up with the first computer, the first printer, first answering machine, the first whatever. Everything was first. And models around. And boyfriends with also cool hot chicks and parties. And so I got sexed up. My whole life sexed up.
Better make a statement in German, whether you translate it.
Or turn me to a little faggot because if there are too many girls around, it's also not good.
Oh,
So he's allowed to make faggot jokes. Because if I would be a real man, I wouldn't be homeless.
Really? You're taking first responsibility?
No, I take responsibility because I'm probably too nice, and you're just too nice because you have all these feminine parts into yourself. And plus, I had the craziest girlfriends in my life, the craziest relationships.
Ask her about his girlfriend's job.
Well,
Okay, außerdem habe ich Styling gemacht für große Produkte, für Werbung,
oh, okay.
für Mode, für Food und
Okay.
Charles Wilp.
Oh, very interesting.
Charles Wilp.
So mother explained what else did she do in her life. She worked also for huge consulting agencies, organizing advertisements, stuff together. Yeah. So in the 80s, this was very cool job. Like there were no real computers. And so
Yeah, styling.
she was
Organization for the
styling
big
and design.
Kampagne.
She worked also with Charles Wilp, and Charles Wilp is in that aspect a huge star worldwide. Charles Wilp basically created his own myth around hippies by creating an own soda drink called Africola.
Africola,
But the
Coca-Cola.
bottle was formed as a nude girl. You might know Africola. Well,
Friend.
Africola is still available, but they stopped the production in the 80s and then they relaunched it in the 90s and you can't buy it.
You're going to tell me the soda was lousy, but the bottle was beautiful?
Right, exactly. So
See how
actually the soda was also not bad. It tasted a little like nowadays the
Dr. Pepper.
it was a little bit between Dr. Pepper and the what do you drink with Jägermeister?
Das war doch der große Freund von diesem Pop-Art. Wie heißt er denn?
Annie Warhol?
Annie Warhol.
Well, they were
Guter
good friends.
Freund von
Annie
Andy
Warhol and
Warhol.
Charles were buddies. And he did a lot of crazy things like, we call that not crazy, we call it cool. In Germany we call that cool. But he was considered to be crazy in the establishment. So he built his own UFO in his garden, or he had his own uniform. And he was so...
Speak.
He was always talking about space. And that's why he has this own hippie movement basically created. And all inspired just by this bottle and formed like a nude girl. And it's called Africola. And before he died some years ago, he was finally able to fulfill his biggest dream. He was in space with the NASA.
Yes.
Yeah, so, and he was working on that for 50 years. He wanted to be in space.
He is diet.
And he probably
for
took LSD and all
3
stuff,
days.
but that's all
Three.
just cute. And he was a cool guy.
Did a flying saucer ever land in his backyard and aliens came out?
I think I don't know if he believed in aliens, but he made a big deal of it, that there's some stuff coming out of space. But I think it was a good marketing campaign. My father was the same things, like, he invented this whole campaign. I think my father was behind the bear
art
market.
director.
Yeah, he was an art director. He had a lot of crazy
Creative
ideas.
director.
Yeah, creative director. So anyway, my mother did everything. So from model to own model agency, then design, consulting. Then she worked at Mannesmann.
Yeah.
Which is
So
a
the
steel
last.
company, but then merged with the telecommunication, which was
Marketing.
T1,
Yeah.
which was a pre-model for the privatization of the US. So in Germany, they always do everything 20 years in advance, and America steals it and incorporates it. Like Germany invented the first radio, British people destroyed it, took over. Television, Berlin.
Not Tesla? I know Mark.
I don't know how Tesla plays into all this, but he allegedly is also from Germany, but I don't know. I think he was East European.
See, if you had been in the 1920s, the big deal was called the Bauhaus School of Architecture.
Oh, yeah.
You know the Bauhaus School?
Yeah.
Walter Gropius.
Gropius.
Van der Mies.
Van der Mies.
Van der Mies,
Yeah.
right. So you were the successor, and she's the successor in the 1970s to the Bauhaus School.
Yeah.
50 years later.
I think there's something to it. And so
Yeah.
what I try to do is, I like crossover genres. My whole life was about crossover. Like, I always believe in not separatism. I want to merge everything. That is also a perfect idea against racism. That's one of my main reasons to go to New York is because there was no racism here. Or it's still not really. It was probably in the 70s, 80s. But since the 90s...
Did you ever join the Greens, the Green Party?
Not technically what I was thinking about, and then I figured out it was all bullshit.
Okay.
Like, the Green Party was actually created by the CIA. That's at least the myth on the conspiracy level.
Okay.
And
What was the name of that terrorist organization? The Baader-Meinhof gang.
I was a terrorist
Were you
supporter
from
when
the
I was 5.
Baader-Meinhof gang?
No, but I liked them when I was 5, 6. I was watching
Yeah.
how they... I think, by the way, it was a pre-9/11 script. That there's all this fake Al-Qaeda on television, that the passenger machine kidnapped, and it was the OPEC was linked into it. After that, they changed the oil prices, real estate was changed, the building codes. This was all linked just to the stupid terrorist act. And then they created the first anti-terror group and the first Homeland Security Act.
I just told you, you and Ryan here.
And we have
Are
the symbolism
gonna
of
be
77, which
responsible.
symbolized Flight 77. So they had something in
Yeah,
common.
you're going to be responsible, you and Ryan, for the crackdown in New York that's coming, because you've been seen here with him, scouting out new terrorist locations. You're going to blow up the New York subway, because you think this is Mumbai, which is only 8,000 miles from here. And you've been tagged with that. So therefore, we have to take precautions.
It's
Because you've been
actually
seen here.
Ugly George behind the scenes doing it and pointing and, oh, he did it, he did it.
Yeah, Ugly George
No,
is the tagger
it's Ray
in chief.
Kelly.
Well, we don't know
Let's hear more from Joe.
how real the sarcasm of Ugly George is.
No,
Yeah.
no, Joe.
I just have questions. I want to see, can you see similarity of Nico and father?
Übereinstimmung mit mir und meinem Vater?
Ja, ich sehe eine ganze Menge.
Ganze Menge.
Leider, ja. Ich sehe eine ganze Menge.
Menge.
Eine Menge.
That's a Menge.
Übereinstimmung, ja.
A lot,
Mit seinem
she
Vater.
says a lot.
Ja.
He's also a marketer?
Yeah.
Ja, sein
He's our
Vater.
number one marketer.
Ja.
Yeah. No, we'd be nowhere if it wasn't for Nico figuring out how to market our completely unwantable ideas.
Do you think West Plains or
Was?
Oh, right to
Oh.
the
Planes or no
jugular.
planes?
Right to the jugular.
Planes or no planes?
He's asking you if you somebody called a no-planner.
Like auf Deutsch.
Was?
Fragt dich, ob du auch überzeugt bist, dass es Beweise gibt, dass kein Flugzeug in die Tower gestürzt ist.
Ich weiß es nicht. Nein. Das kann ich nicht wissen. Das kann ich ja nicht wissen. Nein. Ich war in Germany.
Oh yeah, but some years ago, she was
at least open-minded. But I'm bullshitting a little bit. My mother is a half cool, no planer, period.
Does she believe it was an inside job?
Glaubst du, dass es eine Art Inside-Job war oder falsche Flagge, dass 9/11 ist nicht die richtige Geschichte, September 11-Tag? Glaubst du, das ist die offizielle?
Also ich glaube schon, dass es nicht so war, wie die Medien das berichtet haben.
She said,
das glaube ich schon.
As a general skeptic,
ja.
She doesn't believe that it was like the media told us. She's at least in that context.
Dazu kenne ich die Medien auch genau und weiß, was die haben wollen. Und
she knows the media good enough to know that it was bullshit.
Does she think that the buildings were rigged with explosives?
Do you believe that glaubst du, dass die Gebäude mit well, it's a trick Frage because I wouldn't ask that question. It's a trick question because I wouldn't like to ask my mother that question. But he wants to ask you if you believe that the Twin Towers, ob die Gebäude mit Explosionsstoffen ausgestattet waren. Mit die
das ist möglich, ja.
Okay, so that is possible. But I want to believe and make sure that I think it was not thermite, but at least some unconventional weaponry like direct energy weapons.
Ich war zu der Zeit im Büro und plötzlich schrien meine Kolleginnen, komm mal schnell, wir schauen da gerade Fernsehen. Da ist in New York der zweite Turm zusammen.
Okay. So she explains how they are in the office at that time, and they basically just realized at the time when the tower collapsed, I have to watch TV, no tower collapsed. So my mother didn't see what happened before and all this.
Ja, und ich habe gedacht, komisch, dass gerade in dem Moment alle den Fernseher angemacht haben und dass man das so sehen kann.
Oh, that's interesting. My mother said it was very strange for her that everyone was able to watch it live on television.
But
and then
ich fand das sehr
merkwürdig. Same time television. It was like someone, I believe personally in that.
Ich fand es sehr merkwürdig. Also ich habe gedacht, das ist komisch.
She's using the word merkwürdig, which means seltsam, which is in English strange, but in that context it's like it was very strange. It's like synchronistic.
Yeah.
And I personally believe, I for instance, myself woke up way too early that morning. Usually my biorhythm was a little more fucked up that time. And when I woke up at 8, and I believe that some strong frequency, like a transmit into the air, that people woke up automatically, and then from that point on, maybe they were putting more attention. Ich glaube halt, dass viele Leute auch getrimmt wurden, Fernsehen zu schauen, und viele sind auch bewusst eher aufgewacht, weil die vielleicht elektronische Signale. Alright, so my mother is now.
It's too much.
Don't believe in my theory.
I was uploading my pages from the Book of Life at the time.
Oh, okay. I cannot translate that into German. Rosalie hat an dem Zeitpunkt das Buch des Lebens aufgeladen. Das ist ein Buch von ihr, das heißt das Buch des Lebens, The Book of Life. She's writing about
Eris, the goddess of chaos.
Ja.
She's writing about Eris, the goddess. That's ihre eigene, nicht Erfindung. It's not an innovation, but she's writing about, I don't know, the complexity of life in itself. Or
that's not in Deutsch.
Ja.
Yeah, die Komplexität. Eris, the goddess. Eris, the
Some stuff is just not very translatable.
Ja.
She's very unique because she's basically the only member of her own club.
Does the goddess of cable look
Maybe
anything
Joe
like
Frank
Paula
will.
Gloria?
Oh, sure.
Like that?
Oh yeah, she
Yeah.
does?
Yeah,
Okay,
she makes a perfect Eris, the goddess of chaos, synchronicity.
looks just like Paula, huh?
Him?
No
Yeah, I
doubt
would like
about
to.
it. Oh, okay.
But she's actually a drag queen.
Oh, okay. I knew there was more depth
she's
to
real
Paula than
female,
I knew
but
that.
Eris, the goddess of chaos, she's a drag queen.
Okay.
Meanwhile, back in the struggle for order. Now, has your mother been exposed to arguments that the speed of the collapse, 10 seconds per tower, suggests advanced controlled demolition?
Yeah, I don't think she got exposed to these details. Haben die deutschen Medien dich konfrontiert persönlich mit der Verschwörungstheorie, dass die Tower schneller zusammengestürzt sind, als möglich ist, was die physikalische, die sind dann in 10 Sekunden zusammengestürzt, was unmöglich ist ohne zusätzliche Mittel. Hast du bewusst das mitbekommen, was die Medien darüber at least belächelt haben oder?
Nein, in Deutschland wurde dieses Thema ziemlich ernst behandelt.
Ja.
Und man wusste ja nicht die Einzelheiten.
Okay, aber war es nicht auch populär in Deutschland für eine Weile, dass Verschwörungstechniker in Amerika sich dagegen aussprechen?
Eigentlich nicht, nein. Also ich hatte ja zu der Zeit auch...
Nee, das war 1-2 Jahre später.
Nein, ich habe zu der Zeit sehr viel gearbeitet.
Okay. So my mother
und da
says she personally was not confronted. I personally know that in Germany it was very popular. They had German authors like Matthias, whatever. So my mother was not on the impression that she was targeted by the media, that it was possible that the tower collapsed by anything other than the official story stuff. So she was working also 2-3 years later. So she doesn't know about the scientific argument which does exist.
Ja. Und da ich aus der Werbung komme, ich weiß, wie die Leute da reagieren und ich bilde mir immer gerne meine eigene Meinung und ich weiß, dass da sehr viel gelogen wird und so ich lese diese Sachen auch nicht.
Yeah, so my mother is basically, because she worked within the marketing media, knows how manipulative they are, and she always tried to have her own opinion, so she doesn't really read news. It's like she's also not watching TV, so that maybe explains why she also not even know about the opposition.
Yeah. I get my news from Jay Leno.
Yeah.
New question.
Can I quote you on that? That's very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another question for your mother. Did she imagine extra problems for you because you were in the United States at this political time?
Oh, good question. Hast du dir vorgestellt, dass ich größere Probleme bekomme nach September 11 wegen meinem Hintergrund oder hast du
Doch, da habe ich
Sorgen?
ja auf jeden Fall.
Okay.
Ja,
Yeah, she was very concerned.
Da habe ich schon Angst. Mhm. Ja.
Yeah, she was very concerned, worried.
We all know Angst.
But does she go to your webpage?
Well, I don't have just one, but gehst du
excuse
manchmal
me.
zu meiner Webseite, guckst du manchmal
Ja,
Videos an?
ich schaue mir die Webseiten immer an, ja.
Yeah, she's watching my videos and sometimes other stuff.
Does she like your mashups?
Magst du meine Videos?
Teils.
Ehrlich, honestly.
Teils. Also ich meine, ich bin da so ein bisschen...
50-50.
Ich kenne mich ja auch aus.
Hitler stuff?
Nein.
But some of it was funny, huh? Okay.
Nein, es ist so krass.
Okay, it's
Krass, ja.
Okay.
Does that mean crass?
Crass means
Nee, nicht crash, krass.
extreme or it's too extreme.
Ja.
Yeah.
But my mother liked when I worked with Christoph Schlingensief, who himself was impersonating Adolf Hitler too.
You worked with
Mochte es die Zeit, als ich mit Christoph Schlingensief gearbeitet habe, wo hat auch Adolf Hitler dargestellt.
Ja, aber auch nicht so alles.
Okay.
Ich habe da so meine eigene
50-50.
Meinung drüber und so und es ist mir zu much. Ne?
Ja, it's too much,
Ja.
too extrem.
Ja.
we figured that out too.
Well, that's
Ja.
a fair answer.
We're in agreement. What do you
Yeah.
think, Ryan?
I think it's funny. You get a good entertainment.
Good entertainment, yeah.
Well, it's still
You pay a price.
50-50 for me too, because I didn't always like the doing Nico Hitler. It was part of me was angry at particular people, and part of me was just using it as a protection against myself, without getting not completely freaking out. It was a result of sabotage and I'm truth movement. It was a result of staying in a fucking abusive warehouse where I had nothing to eat and to drink. And I was maybe psychologically abused by too many people here in the same space as Paula Gloria. And the knowledge that Paula Gloria's past was in the interest of conflict with my own past, because I'm rejecting health. But I respected Paula's own way how to deal with this, and so that's why I used the satire concept again. So, but it went out of hand at one point, so I didn't always
Paula
like.
rejected cults, and suddenly she went from having millions to being broke.
Right, that's correct.
Does your mother know this? what you went through? Can you translate?
Hast du die Zeit mitbekommen, als ich praktisch auf der Straße war, vor 1,5 Jahren, dass ich aus meiner eigenen Wohnung rausgetrickst wurde? Hast du das?
Hier in New York?
Ja.
Nein, das hat er mir irgendwie verschwiegen. Das habe ich nicht so mitbekommen. Nein.
Oh. Well, she says that's interesting. I didn't know that I didn't really tell her because I was embarrassed or whatever. I didn't tell her that I had big problems. That's actually true. Now I'm thinking I didn't tell her much.
How does she like your wife?
That is a very interesting question. Which, it's very tricky. Because I can't talk about it. It's like I think she likes her, yeah. That we don't know really what we're talking about right now, so I cannot. Magst du meine Ehefrau?
Deine Ehefrau?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could make everything so
Ich kenne sie viel zu wenig. Ich meine,
by saying thank you a couple of times.
Okay, she says
Ich
she
kenne
doesn't
sie
know
viel.
much, but whatever.
Ich habe sie nur einmal gesehen und paar Tage und gut, es war irgendwie, ich habe sie gemocht, aber ich kann da jetzt nicht weiter irgendwas drüber sagen. Sie war eine.
She can't say more, but we also can't say more because we don't really know who she is. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, we all look for who we are.
Yeah. Well, I can say that that Peggy loves Nico madly and needs a couple of thank yous and everything would be fine. But to get a thank you out of Nico, it's easier to get blood.
It's a feminine affliction.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know there are 150 personalities attached to Peggy, so I give thank yous to a lot of them, and Rosalie expected to give it personally to that character I reject.
Yeah, so it can be all one person. If you are good to all of them and reject the one, then you're rejecting.
Well, on the other hand, I also want to protect her because she has a lot of things in her past she wants to protect. So that's why I don't want to talk about her, because I respect her own privacy and own secrecy. So that's why I don't want to push this angle so much. I respect just what she did for me. On the other hand, I reject what she went through and turned against me. I tried actually to protect her by not talking too much about her and explaining how she got abused because I married her. I believe we got both personal sabotage. I believe she got picked. I got picked. We both got played against each other. And that's too much for her. She's done not accept that theory. I believe.
And I believe a couple of thank yous and they could live happily ever after.
Well, I work on more thank yous, yeah.
Well, we believe if you changed your birth date, you and Joe would be in Mr. and Mrs.
Yeah, well, we're proof that people can get along adequately regardless. You know?
That's what Peggy said, Joe.
And there's no truth to the
any
rumor
comment? Come on, Joe.
that Joe Friendly on Christmas Day puts on a red suit and his beard, and he plays Santa Claus, picks up a few extra rubles.
I got that little red.
Yeah, he's even got the belly.
That's it.
Come on, here,
Absolutely.
Joe, birthday plug. Here's your chance. About you and Rosalie and the birthday factor.
Oh, yeah, that's a funny story.
Let's hear it.
No, you said that you actually don't like that she's not born in a particular month?
Yeah, I'm totally the wrong kind. And there is a sense in which we simply cannot communicate. We're on absolutely different wavelengths. And it's
Perfect
just
life.
to be
He's agreeing.
Put up with. Because, there probably is this connection from the different times, like you say.
Oh, yeah, I believe in that too. Yeah. Well, that's just fucking astrology, average stuff.
I don't trust perfection, so I'm happy with the imperfection. Yeah.
Yosef?
That's an indication of where Nico's limited intelligence comes to play, that he can't quite see the difference between my shtick and astrology, I guess.
Explain your shtick.
Oh, no, that's not the point. The point is I don't believe in astrology rules or laws. I believe that everyone who gets born has particular character, but she confuses astrology. Because for me it's regular science. It is the same science where you build houses with or destroy houses. It's like crash physics. So if you're born on the 14th of May, that makes a character. It has nothing to do with New Age, it has nothing to do with astrology. It's just a fucking momentum. And you believe that the sun and the water plays into this might be right. But I just say...
you're agreeing with him. You're agreeing with him.
Yeah. Plus, I'm saying his thesis is a little absurd, because what is with the Norwegian people who have no sun at all?
Well, people that live in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah, in the southern hemisphere. I mean, that's a little weird.
How about that?
The sun is not that important. I mean, or the dark is more important. It's the way of how the light is spinning. Yeah, it makes you a little darker or lighter. But on the other hand, I don't believe in dark as a negative. I don't believe in light as a positive. Light could make you also very negative. It's like, for instance, if they put me on that light for 3 hours, I'm getting aggressive against that light. If they put me 3 hours in the garage, you get aggressive against dark. But it could be also very comfortable, and this could be very comfortable. So the sun itself can produce negative and positive energy, but the word energy for sure is stupid because it's abused into the New Age context. So I just believe in very regular science. For me, if I use the word frequency, it's a frequency. And it's not a New Age frequency, it's not an astrology frequency, and it's not a fucking alien frequency. It's just a frequency, that's it.
Too much. Stop it.
But Joe, what about marrying Rosalie?
Come on, you gonna put him on the spot like that?
Yeah, you can put me on the spot too, because I said the stuff about John Galeno taking him to the party, and I don't think he's my imposter.
Why Mary? What
And I think that John Galeno was all of her imposters. I still do.
No.
The whole gang of them.
No.
Yep. Only the problem that came in is that John Galeno fell madly in love with Paula Gloria, partly because he had to imposter her until he could understand her psyche and her soul.
But what about Paula Gloria with the Q? There's two different persons there. Some are so nasty.
No, they are just after me.
No, but whoever, but it couldn't be the same person.
I think it can be the same person. Yeah, I think that people
multiple
have
identities.
Yeah.
I think these are harmless people from the transgression movement around Nick Z. They just don't like me, and they're using her as a strawman to sabotage me. But they're harmless. Paula Gloria and the Paula Gloria impersonator, they were just troublemaker at the time. Now it's old school.
No, I've caught this Paula with the Q. Also, just the subtext of it is madly in love with her. And
I believe actually she's lesbian, because I believe it's the ex-girlfriend of Nick Z. I think it's Reverend Jen. And if you listen to us right now and you don't watch whoever this ends up to, but I think that Paula Gloria is Reverend Jen, so it's the ex-girlfriend of Nick Z.
Anyway, Joe, we can go back to you being on the spot about the birthday thing.
The birthday. Well, I think if Nico finally heard the whole story, he'd be surprised how similar we are. But I have contempt for astrology. I believe in the science of building houses, and my background, as I suppose he knew, is electrical engineering. So I am a believer in the mundane sciences. But I do claim to have made a huge scientific discovery in the tradition of those big scientific discoveries that ordinary science can explain birthday's significance. And the more you understand it, the more it turns out to be the case that birthday is even a bigger deal than astrology, because astrology tempers their assertions about the sun with the planets. And frankly, I think the planets are a red herring, that the additional variable is the birthdays of the parents. That's why I asked Mama June 1st. I think that the birthdays of the parents is an important variable. But to summarize what my discovery is, it's nothing about the grand generalizations about the forces of light and the forces of darkness. It's simply the proposition that humans have evolved to increase the variety of ways of being human, the variety of ways of dealing with situations from a survival point of view, to respond to the time of birth, to variously program the way our control networks interconnect all the different parts of the nervous system with each other, So we all have different kinds of central processing units, like in the computer, the CPU. We have different integrating architectures, different ways of making the nervous system work. And when I say nervous system, I mean connecting all the different parts of your head with each other, with your body and all that. So, having said all that, no, Rosalie and me aren't going to get married, and I still maintain a search for September 10th. And,
my father's birthday. But they didn't get along. We set up a show, and my dad said, "Where's this guy?"
All right. Well, I'm a little disappointed.
Right?
I think if we had talked a little longer, I could have won him over.
He really tried.
Yeah. He did try there.
Bless my father. Those are his ex-wives to have swastika. They put metal rods in his back.
So, the right woman for you is November 13th, Nico. Have there been any November 13th birthday women in your life?
How do you know that November 13th is important? If you talk about her birthday, it's very interesting.
Your mother's?
Well, okay, I keep that November 13th in mind, but I personally believe that...
No, your birthday's in April, right?
Well, I believe personally that birthday is a kind of harassment. I don't use it, and I don't want to talk you either, because I just don't... I believe in no age. And no age means there's no age. That means who cares about birth? But generally I believe in the scientific background of when you're born. There is something into it. But it's your personal issue. It's none of everyone's business. Women also obscure their age. So
Not me.
Yeah.
She brags.
57.
Yeah, but I'm saying it keeps you younger.
I thought you're 58 now.
57.
You're 57 now, so you're actually younger than me.
Cool. 1951.
Yeah, me too.
Keine Geburtstagsdaten.
51?
9.
What more maybe she...
Well, anyhow, the reason I told Nico November 13 is because I remember his birthday is May 13. So 6 months away from May 13 is November 16, 13 or whatever. And June 1st, the right match for her is December 1st. Has she been successful in finding friends born around December 1st?
Hast du Boyfriends gehabt, die im Dezember 1. Geboren sind?
My husband.
Your father's December 1st?
Yeah.
No, he's December,
now I know
December 5th, which is one day before Nikolaus. It's very ironic because that's my name. So I was born. My father is born one day before Saint Nikolaus is born.
This is a product of the perfect birthday fashion. Nico Haupt.
What happens? They actually line up.
I'm coming in close on Joe.
What can you do? I won an argument a little.
But I still don't know who inspired my name, actually.
What?
Wer hat meinen Namen kreiert?
Ich.
Oh, you?
Nikolai Alexander.
Oh, okay. So what is the Alexander? Is it Russian?
Russian.
Okay, so and the Nikolai, where does it come from? Italy?
No, Russian.
Both.
Is your grandfather died in fighting in Russia?
Because my Großvater is in Russland gestorben?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Is that a tribute to my grandfather?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so my name is inspired by my grandfather who died in Siberian?
Russland.
Russland.
Her father?
My father is, yes.
Yeah, he died working for the Nazis as a soldier, foot soldiers in Siberia, frozen to death. At least that's the official story. So, Nikolai Alexander is inspired by my great-father's death in Russia.
You have 4 minutes, Joe.
Well, are you impressed, Nico, with the 6 months from your father here? Did you say uncle yet?
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I still hope that I will not as much fuck up as my father, which I'm very close now.
Oh.
And I still hope that my father will not completely die being fucked up. But I understand he's not that fucked up. He's now in Ireland and...
if it's a UFO cult, he might be right on the
No, you still understand. It's not a UFO cult. It's a space universal cult. Okay. What he's talking about, no one understands. He believes
then
that...
he's probably right.
No, he believes there is not one universe. He believes that we have multiple universes.
And how do you know we don't?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is so complicated that they cannot even create a cult because no one understands even the one universe. So, but he says the multiples is like a nuclear construct, and all universes are hang out against each other.
Is any of this translated into English?
Yeah, possible. And the irony is, my father is also infiltrated by conventional cult people. Like, I saw a huge list of 60 sponsors, and all of a sudden I'm seeing here, I don't know, for foundation or something. Something where I told my father, why you have these people as sponsors? They're fucking CIA. And so I cannot argue with my father because he just wants to have money.
People think Joe's CIA. What do you think of that, Joe?
No, in that context, everyone is CIA. CIA is old school. CIA stands for drugs, that's for sure. But they create in the 60s and 70s, they create a lot of cults.
Let's legalize hemp oil.
Let's say goodbye to Mama.
Things. And they create the Scientology thing. And they create another bullshit.
So he's imaginative?
What?
Vorstellungskräftig?
Ob du das bist?
He has a good imagination?
Yes. Yes.
Too much?
I think, ja. Groß. Ich glaube, es hat auch etwas damit zu tun. Als Kind hat er unheimlich viele diese.
As a kid, I did
Was hast du gelesen?
Oh, I did a real
diese, ja.
books. For what kind of books?
Ja, und diese, wie heißt denn noch? Diese
Comic strips?
Ja, und diese.
Yeah, I read everything. My mother explained I read a lot of different books.
Er hat sehr viel.
She says I read a lot of comic strips. So that's true. I read a lot of comic strips. I grew up with Donald Duck and all stuff. But I read everything. I read a lot of books. I'm now like Ryan. Ryan's reading a lot of books. He's the last book reader worldwide. He's reading books in 5 minutes. I did the same when I was young. So Ryan is he's a book guy. He's a Fahrenheit 451. He's memorizing books.
Danke, Mama.
Ja. Bitte, bitte.
Okay.
Actually, I was wrong. You have another minute.
Actually, we have also one bad thing. My mother didn't always like what I do for crazy things. Because at one point I was writing down Mercedes-Benz car numbers. Like I'm comparing different Mercedeses. And so I had all these lists in my room. Like we have the 180, the 190, the 190E, the 170. And she comes to the room and says, why are you writing down all these Mercedes-Benz cars? And can't you do something more serious with your life? I said, it's just a fucking hobby. I'll probably stop it in 2 weeks. But I did it already for 4, 5, 6 weeks. Every time I saw a new Mercedes-Benz and a different number, I wrote it down. Because I wanted to figure out why I have so many different Mercedes.
Joe.
There you go. I got a couple of jabs in there, but this is a group project. Hey, anything last? Ugly, quick one, would you?
I just wish you had a red suit on.
And also one message to Fred. Please don't turn it against Paula Gloria because we all gave her approval. This is a Christmas project. We have some nice revival. We all have our own bad past. We can handle all of each other. So give some respect to Paula Gloria for now, and we see what happens. It's just everyone does their own thing anyway. So there is no new manipulation.
Thank you, Nico. Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Can you show that? I just have
Okay. Yes.
This was just.
Yeah.
I wasn't there last night, but I thought it was a pretty poster.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were there for the menorah lighting.
Oh yeah, that's up there.
Although the idea that at the moment when they light the one to turn off the other, I thought that was an interesting little variant.
Yeah, that was really decent of them. What did they do? They turned off the Christmas tree during the menorah lighting.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty pagan. But I love pagan.
The pagans run the whole Portland thing.
Huh? You like pagan?
The pagans running the Portland thing was Jennifer.
Oh, okay.
Are you right?
Oh, there's still more tape.
Oh, I see, the 50th, 59th.
Dazzle everybody with high tech.
What's that, Joe?
Pull the plug out of the
You.
no of the
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.